A short reading this morning. This is from the Numerical Discourses, Book of the Threes, Sutta 23. It's on sankara, here translated as volitional activities. It's one of these words that's got many translations, and formations is another one you often see, because it's sankara is both an activity and a kind of a program. So it's a kind of continuing activity that creates a particular form, like a current. So you might say a river is both an activity of water running, but also acquires a certain form or consistency. So sankaras are these kind of rivers, if you like, that run through us, or what our experience, our awareness. More details later. 3 kinds of persons living in the world. Here, because some person generates afflictive bodily activities, afflictive verbal activities, and afflictive mental activities. In consequence, he is reborn in an afflictive world. When he is reborn in an afflictive world, afflictive contacts touch him. Being touched by afflictive contacts, he feels afflictive feelings, exclusively painful. As in the case of hell beings, someone else generates unafflictive bodily, verbal, mental activities, reborn in an unafflictive world. Reborn in an unafflictive world, unafflictive contacts touch him. Being thus touched, feels unafflictive feelings exclusively pleasant, as in the case of the devas of refulgent glory. Still another generates bodily, verbal, and mental activities that are afflictive and unafflictive. Reborn in a world is both afflictive and unafflictive. In this case, touched by afflictive and unafflictive contacts, he feels both afflictive and unafflictive feelings, mingled pleasure and pain, as in the case of human beings. Some devas and some beings in the lower worlds, which would probably mean animals. So here's us, human beings, afflictive and unafflictive, contacts, challenged, rewarded, gratified, wounded, bruised, and so forth, a mixture of stuff. Reborn into this world, or arising in this world, in this context. On account of particular sankara, volitional activities, volitional impulses, energies, drives, they become habitual. And if we take this reference to be more immediate, rather than something about a one-off birth, we can see in every day as we arise in a context of afflictive and unafflictive experiences. And a lot of it just seems random, right? Beats me, why it happens. And how even more curious when you're living with a group of people seeming in the same context, same world, same situation. People are getting different degrees of painful and pleasant feeling and impulses and urgencies and around different things. This world is actually much more local and intimate than we would normally believe it to be. In fact, one of the famous sayings of the Buddha is that you find your world in this body, with its consciousness, feelings and perceptions is this world. So it takes it right down to something much more immediate and personal and about karma, action. And our action in this present moment generates particular impulses that go to places in your heart, mind, body, experience, where you feel upset, distraught, overwhelmed, or lifted up, rejoicing, gladdened, in this very intimate experience here. This is the world we enter in meditation, the direct, immediate world. It's giving you a good perspective on rebirth. And if you get that understanding, you probably could recognize, well, this is kind of what's going to keep going on for as long as I live, unless I change it. And then, well, if there is such a thing as a future birth, this is the template. This is the template right now. You can get a good look at where you're going. And so, of course, it always seems to be circumstances that are the problem, or other people, or weather, or something external beyond my control. That's the way it seems. Have you ever noticed you can be in a really very pleasant place, West Sussex, on a sunny day, garden day, bees buzzing around, flowers blooming. I'm feeling miserable. I'm feeling disrespected. I'm feeling oppressed. I'm suffering immensely. You look around, it's not, oh, it's because of him and her, and this and that, and what was on the schedule, and so forth. Well, yeah, but that's the bits that you picked up on. So the bits you picked up on, the bits you got activated by. You didn't get activated by a pleasant sunny morning. You just, no, that was there, but it didn't really get you. It didn't really touch you. What you got activated by was the boiler breaking down, or the maintenance man not turning up, or this person not doing the chores on time. That's what got you. And, the sunny day, the dana, all that just disappeared off the map. Suddenly your world becomes the things that concern and bother you, and of course excite you and worry you. Not really direct sense contact at all. On an objective level, but very much filtered by what gets you contact. And contact, in this sense, is not just superficial, that which touches your body, but that which touches your heart. And that's the problem, or the nub of it, that which touches your heart. Where does your heart turn? Where does it turn? Where does it search for its stability, constancy, reliable, smooth, comfortable, orderly, going the right way, in a good way, in a profitable way? And where does it search for that? And how many of those searches are fruitful? Yeah, that's always what's being presented, isn't it? The latest version, computer software, life's going to be easy, problem-free, faster, dynamic, powerful, exciting, kind of thing. What is it? Another snarl-up of can't figure out what's going wrong. Something's snapped, something's broken down, they've got to have a password, another set of hassles. Where do they go? No, that's the way it is, and it will change. It's impermanent, it will break down. That's for something you can be absolutely 100% rock solid, certain about, no matter what they say. It will break down. Anicca rules all conditions. So our search for security, reliability, comfort, agreeable, everything flowing, in that level, or just blame computer software, it's like it's everywhere, conditioned realm, is going to get us into sort of pretty rocky territory. Sometimes it'll be fine, and it will break, change. And then you go, oh no, I was relying on that. Oh, well, don't rely on it. It's the remedy. So what can you rely on? Well, you look around, you start to run short, don't you? You look around. World, governments, no. Politics, no. Services, no. Train, no. Transport, no. Car, no. Yeah. So you just give nothing to rely on. No, the Buddha in this very body is also the way out of the world. So this is through really understanding and moderating and stilling and quietening sankara. This is sublime, this is peaceful. That is the stilling of sankara. The relinquishment of one's attachments. Dispassion, detachment, destruction of craving, ceasing, nibbana. Stilling of sankara. So, I was sort of saying, what is this sankara? It seems pretty crucial actually, because this is the stuff that gets us going. And there's something about that also means it keeps steering us into very familiar areas where I feel, something wrong with me, or people don't treat me right, I'm always like this, I'm stuck with that. I'm this kind of a person. It keeps defining me in my world. There's something so unerring about that. And how is this? Because contact means feeling. Feeling means a heightening of energy. Pleasant or unpleasant, but it always heightens. Therefore, it attracts the chitta. Oh, suddenly this thing stands out. Oh, what happens when the chitta is attracted? It starts to vibrate. And then these impulses, movement, sankara. It's called mental volition. It's actually not a psychological or rational process, it's an emotional process. It's a reactive reflex, an emotional process. I worry, I get excited, I plan, I crave, I fear, I rejoice. Something jumps up, that's sankara. So it jumps up, where is it going to go? Where's it going to go? First thing it's going to go. It's going to go to, where's that supposed to go? In other words, where is that thing that worry? Something strikes me and I feel uncertain. It rushes towards a familiar place called our worry place, or our fear place, or our frustration place, or our ambition place, or our loving kindness place, of course. And rushes to these places. So you've got these places, territories, and these are established through perceptions. So let's have a simple example. These build up, So you're 2 years old and you're sort of fooling around with things. You use something called a dog and you sort of squeeze it and it bites you. Oh, perception, dog, pain. Dogs are nasty, painful, vicious creatures. Gets established. Right, so you fear, dog fear. See dogs, feel a fear, you feel that fear of being bitten. But maybe after a while, your mum or your dad comes along and you think, look, you treat it like this, it's quite pleasant, it's a lovable creature. Oh, it shifts a bit. Suddenly you get, dog isn't always, it's like this, so it's mingled. It's no longer fixed as a source of terror. You get some sense of, treat this with respect. It moderates your sankara. You don't establish a fixed perception of the dog being always lovable or always vicious. It's just if you kick it, it's liable to do this. If you stroke it, it's liable to do that. This moderates your sankara. Your activations are then moderated. You learn something. Next thing you learn is dog dies. So then it's no longer vicious or friendly, it's impermanent. That moderates your sankharas too. You don't hold on to the perception of dog as something you can rely upon, or even, a sense in we live lightly, respectfully, moderate the sankharas, they're stilled, no longer so impulsive, you're careful. And what you generate is respect. Because if you just act carelessly, you either act in an afflictive way or you act in an attached way. So this non-attachment doesn't mean dismissing, it means respect for things to be as they are. It's going to moderate. Leads to dispassion, detachment, cessation of craving, relinquishment of fixed perceptions of dog. Now, of course, we have very complex lives. Dogs are quite easy to human beings. Big ones, small ones, men, women, different shapes, different sizes. Attractive, repulsive, frightening, gladdening, encouraging, welcoming, intimidating. And so any one of these can happen. And so then our mind got these kind of rushes off to these different directions. Is he one of those? Is he one of these? Is he one of these today? Is she being like that today? Is she being like my mother today? Or is she being like my friendly cousin today? Mixed messages, isn't it? So you establish, who is this person? You establish these fixed perceptions of people. And then loss of real respect. In that sense of, don't know. But whatever it is, treat it with respect. Moderate your actions, your reactions. That will be for your welfare. And it'll probably be for their welfare. This is how you're learning. But of course, the compulsion is to establish things permanent. I know exactly who you are, therefore I've got a set of actions that I do. We search to become robots. So I don't have to be aware. Just to get programmed into a set of serious reactions, compulsions. So activations are not just volatile, they're also tremendously attractive. Give me the program. Let we live on a whiteboard where everything is mapped out. Every action, every speech, every position, everything is utterly mapped. Then I don't have to be aware in a open way. Something that's, because it's easier, quicker, easier. And that's the route which we choose to go down. That's why, of course, technology is so attractive. Isn't it? Immediate, quick, powerful. But in fact, it traps you. So you can't operate without it. And then it breaks down. And then whole systems, life has been built around that. We've lost organic life, we've lost intimate life, we've exported our intimacy to a system, a structure, a machine. And as long as it works, we trot along with it, but it will break down. And then, what am I supposed to do? This is the whole problem of attachment. If there's something really reliable, then great, get it, hold on to it. And in fact, that is the recommendation. But of course, the other piece in the menu is, there is that which is totally reliable, but the mechanism of attachment gets in the way of it. It's only realized through non-attachment. How do I get it? Well, you moderate your sankaras and it comes to you. You don't get it, it arrives, you realize it. So it's pretty much a dramatic turnaround. In that turnaround, the other aspect that sankara generates a world I operate in. It also generates me as the actor in that world. Action generates not just an act, it generates an actor. The me who's doing it. The me who will arrive somewhere, having done the right thing, I'll get to the right place. It generates me. It generates me who can't quite get it right, no matter how hard I try, because there's something wrong with me. Well, maybe not. Maybe the problem is the sankara is hindered by ignorance, delusion. Nothing wrong with you, it's the sankharas that are confused, disorderly, unmoderated, reckless, uninformed. And maybe they're going to the wrong places, just rushing off into fantasies of what I should be, could be, the way the world is going to be if I got it right. If I got it right, the world would be fine. So it's up to me. Well, who's that? So when you see in Satipatthana teachings, you don't really have any self-recollection. Recollection of, awareness arises with the experience of form. Wherever I am, I'm in a something. Occupy some space. There's a form. There's feeling. That occurs, definitely. Feeling of perception. Something means something. Something's interpreted. That arises. There's volition, there's activation, there's an impulse arises. There's consciousness. Suddenly awareness floods out through sight, sound, touch, hearing, thinking, tasting, there's all that. Yeah, and there's a lot of action around that. A lot of residues get laid down of what's agreeable and disagreeable, where to go. But who? Doesn't get laid down. It's imagined. So in Satipatthana we see these reflections on body as one of the bases of form, feeling, which also includes perception, that which triggers feeling. Something means something, therefore we feel. Because we feel something, an interpretation happens. Because I feel displeasure, I think you're an unpleasant person. That happens. When I see you, who I define as an unpleasant person, I feel a certain feeling. And that goes on. Yeah. And then what else is there? Chitta, heart, or mind. And chitta, first of all, the description is what it's affected by, or affected by passion, or not affected by passion, affected by aversion, or not affected by aversion, affected by delusion, or not affected by delusion. So these effects, you see, that's the first level of it. Second level of it is because of those effects, the chitta are constricted, restricted, or scattered. So the chitta has a kind of a coherence or a shape to it. Yeah? So because of these effects, the second awareness we have is, I feel scattered. The chitta is scattered. Or I feel restricted, compressed, overwhelmed, tightened, hemmed in, regimented. The chitta feels compressed. It has a certain shape to it that's either compressed or not compressed, scattered or not scattered. That's the second aspect of chitta. Third aspect, it can be elevated. Like it's bright, serene, open. It's also got an altitude, if you like. It can rise or not. It says called the great chitta, the expansive chitta. It can be wide open and light and brilliant, or not. So it also has a certain altitude. You could say a certain ability to expand or not expand, and then liberated or not liberated. It can either be stuck onto something or having released it. And this liberation, in this sense, is not final liberation, although of course that is a liberation, but this means the mind was hanging on and it's dropped it. Poof. The mind was infected with ill will and animosity and it released it. So every time you get one of those, you were having a struggle and poof. What's that feel like? Oh, yeah. You were in a conflictual situation, now you resolved it. What does that feel like? So noticing that there is such a thing, both the effects, the shape, the elevation, and the holding or the non-holding can be all experienced in citta. And whereas in the effects, that is the passion, or there's a sense of self gets generated because it's volitional. In the constriction, I am constricted, I'm overwhelmed, it's too tight, I'm tense, definitely gets activated. In the sense of, I'm really having a great day, I'm spacious, I'm open, self gets generated. Liberation, no self gets generated. And I thought, that was good, how did I... Afterwards we think about it, but at that moment, that's the one where the sankaras stop. And there's no place, there's no world, there's no entity, there's no self, there's no world. That can be momentary, called datanga. Momentary. And every time one was embroiled in a context, embroiled in an argument, embroiled in a dilemma, and something drops it, you get this maybe just moment of clarity. And there's definitely an experience, and it seems very central, because every time, any one of those experiences where it comes, actually arrives at the same non-place. And it's the same non-place of stable, obvious, cool, not moving, something like, why aren't you always here? And then you're not. Because something gets picked up again. The stilling of sankara, that moment when it... Okay? So how does that happen? Just recognizing, well, for a start, these sankharas can be here described as bodily, verbal and mental. Let's do a revision of that. Bodily can be external body, physical action, internal body. You feel those somatic rushes through your nerves, your blood heats up, your chest contracts, your shoulders slump, you feel set back. That's internal, right? You feel challenged and something you shrinks. You feel depressed and something you sinks. You feel annoyed, something you rises up, bristles, struggles. That's internal body, right? Volitional stuff happening there. Around that volitional stuff, I am, this, that, the other. In that I am state, I notice, attune to all the painful qualities that reiterate and validate that state. I'm overwhelmed because of the washing up list. I'm overwhelmed because of the work rota. I'm overwhelmed because my cousin's this and my auntie's this and I should have been that. And all this data rush in that confirm the sankara. It draws them in. You don't notice the blackbird singing. You don't notice the absence of pain in your feet. You don't notice your digestive system working perfectly. You don't notice 100 people around you are perfectly comfortable. You notice the things that conform to the afflictive state. You arise in an afflictive world. It's pretty shocking, isn't it, really? You see how flawless that analysis is. And then, of course, the heart is affected, and then we think. Verbal means also any kind of articulation, internal thinking. Reminds us and goes whirling around that world. And of course the verbal, the conceptual world is huge, and we can remember, we can calculate, we can interpret, we can analyze, we can compare and contrast. All this happens in the verbal, intellectual domain. So we can calculate all the problems, all the possibilities, the alternatives, where I could be will be better than this. Maybe if I was, practicing Coptic Christianity in southern Egypt, it'd be fine. Because I haven't tried that yet. Don't think so. I think it'd be pretty much the same after about a week. You can conceive all the things. But where does that conceiving come from? What's the sankara? Agitation, restlessness, craving. Follow that, you will arrive in a world of restlessness and craving. It's pretty logical how it occurs. But our thinking mind, we can still conjure up wonderful notions, this, that, and the other, promises and so forth. So, okay, maybe. So let's just actually feel that. Where do you feel it? You feel it in your heart. You feel the heart rise with anticipation, or excitement, or disappointment, or frustration. You see, so there's the trajectory. Following that trajectory, there being an agent, a person, me, it cannot be the case that you'll arrive outside that. You'll arrive outside of that. Outside of that model. You'll be another me in another context following the same patterns. Because the pattern has not been challenged at all. It's been given another run. And this is why samsara is so endless, the wandering on. Because our minds are fantasizing and we follow it. And they fantasize in accordance with heart conditions of uncertainty, sorrow, frustration, craving. Truly, qualities one should have sympathy for, but certainly not to launch programs from. So, chitta sankara. Let's just deal with the frustration or the craving, and then take it from there. And see what arises from there. Since these are surely energies and qualities you don't wish to continue, let's see what happens if you quell those. Where is that going to happen? So because as though the body has its own system, we can come out of our psychologies and mental realms by returning to the kaya sankara. It's called the bodily activation, which is, this analysis has been seen to be that which can be afflictive. We get depressed or worried or rattled, restless, agitated and so forth. This is when it's just following. But the Buddha said that, well, there is one kaya sankara that's exceptionally helpful in working way out of this conundrum. It's called breathing in and out. It is this kaya sankara that liberates. Because that's not a fantasy. It's immediate. You don't have to crave it. You can't stop it. It happens. You don't have to cling to it because it happens whether you cling to it or not. So that clinging is kind of redundant. In fact, clinging tends to make a problem out of it. You can set yourself up, open, restful, to allow it and to stay with it. And in order to do so, when it's a gift, it's free, it has a calming and moderating effect, it's intimate, it's definitely a big feature of your form, your experience of form, your experience of feeling, your experience of perception, your experience of sankara, and your experience of consciousness. So it's definitely in there, and it runs through all of those, but it's agreeable, and it's also not self. It happens. You don't have to breathe. It happens. It doesn't require some act of the will to get it going. So action relieved of an actor. And that's particular moderation. It was relieved of an actor. What does that mean? It means we're not craving for some result. And this is really the kind of challenge, because the way we operate, we tend to assume we've got to use some willpower to breathe, to meditate. We call it meditating, focusing. I'm going to focus on breathing and try to go through these steps, the stages, and arrive somewhere. Totally understandable. And even in terms of language, yeah, that's true. Except as you get more used to it, the less and less me and will are involved, the better it's going to get. The more we can get the body to do the breathing, and just something as our hearts can sit back and enjoy it, the better it gets. The less I'm setting up goals, the quicker I get results. They come to me. The more I can get out of the way, the more this liberation experience can come to me. Because it's not something I can get or have. I can moderate my activities to the point when it can arrive. That's a different, subtle cultivation, isn't it? Now, it's not that willpower and effort is unnecessary, but there's definitely a cut-off point. When you're just getting too tense, too pushy, too frustrated, too ambitious, too complicated, say, no, this isn't it. No, this isn't it. Just try to just sit, stand, and arrange your body in a way that is most cooperative to experience breathing. And the act of the will is just to keep returning to it and relaxing the emotion. It's called sati, to recollect, to return and linger. Return, linger, enjoy, appreciate, explore. That's your action. This is the enlightenment factors. So we have sati and then Dhamma Vijaya, explore. How does this feel? How is this? So this always is kind of enhancing the body, the heart's bonding and immersion into the breathing, kaya sankara. And through this one interrupts those compulsive reflexes, heart reflexes of worry, planning, concern, agitation, ill will. You interrupt those. Instead this. And it cleans. And we begin to realize there's a better place we can be at. that is supportive for complete letting go. And all that's there. Because if you follow the experience of breathing fully, you notice there's a certain firmness to it. It doesn't drift. It's actually very firmly centered on a particular process of inhalations, exhalations. Your body's held by it, can be held upright by it. It affects your spine, affects your carriage, deportment, chest. So it's definitely got some firmness. It's got some gentle warmth to it. And it's invigorating, but calming. It's refreshing, it feels pleasant. And the chitta is made expansive through that. It moderates. And you notice that these process of breathing is both inhalation, which is the arising, which ends, which is the releasing, cleaning, letting, that ends. And you have the ends of the breath. So the ending, the last second or so of the breathing is often most acutely sensitive. The energy is dwindling. And it goes, then it goes out. And then it comes back. And those places where it goes out are places where our mind wanders, or we don't even notice it, or we're planning for the next one, trying to get it right. But actually the going out is a very important part, because this is rebirth. Where one lifespan has ended, you're in rebirth, you're in bardo. Can you be open in that, for that microsecond, for that half second, for that second? Not be planning the next. Enjoy the space. And so on a physiological level, the more one can linger in that, the breathing process becomes quieter, subtler, more satisfying, till the movement of breathing kind of subsides, and you're in something that's just gently, very gently pulsing, slowly pulsing, extremely stable. And the mind then, in order to be with it, the mind just cannot be with that unless it's dropped a whole load of strategies. So it's psychologically liberating. And this is the way that the Buddha's path was like this. So, of course, this is the work of years. To undo so much, or what seems so much. It's not to be underestimated. But remember, the world of the past, the future, the identity, the complexities of family life, of roles and positions, seemingly so vast, is actually held on 3 threads. Bodily sankara, verbal sankara, mental sankara, heart sankara. Any of those go, the world disappears. All that goes. Any of that is stilled, it changes. Even the stilling of the heart, the calming of it, we look at our sense of conflict with a more sympathetic and, oh well, less frantic state. Oh well, everybody gets this, and okay. time to be patient and compassionate. Just that degree of stilling of the heart sankara. Suddenly the world is no longer a logjam, it's just, well, yeah, life is like this, and it'll change, and I'll just stay steady where I am. So even that, yeah, changing, the weight of it changes. And the sense of being hopelessly enmeshed in it changes, because you found out even that degree of moderation, of just cooling, steadying the heart within the body, suddenly you're not completely enmeshed in all that. You realise you can witness it, but you're not in it. You can be sympathetic towards it, but at the same time you're not thrashing around trying to solve it. That's a degree of liberation. Just the quelling of the compulsiveness of the heart to engage in that way. Right? That's a stilling of sankara. So this is how you can just pragmatically recognize how the massive, seemingly ponderous world of circumstance and seemingly, trapped being, where their complexities and their history and their definitions and their self-referencing, it's actually only constructed by 3 threads of activation. If you interrupt, still, stabilize, calm, any of those, it's going to shift. But you have to, this is why it's so important to really understand the underpinnings of one's existence, rather than all the details. If you've got wearing a sweater with all kinds of complicated patterns on it, you only have to pull one thread long enough, it'll fall apart. Doesn't matter how much embroidery is on it, how intricate, how dense, how complex that weave is. You just pull 1 or 2 threads, it's going to loosen. And this is meditation practice. So we're using the body to act as something that can stabilize and disengage from the proliferating complexities of the heart and mind. And the heart recognizes it, tunes into it. Thinking mind has to be directly steered back to it. This is sati, placing attention, lingering, evaluating. How is this? Dwelling in it, acknowledging the results. Oh, that person, oh well, yeah, I think she has problems, or I have a problem. Let's just be kind, rather than I'm right, she's wrong, or she's like this, she's one of those. I think we need some kindness here. Don't we all? So let's take some time for direct practice.